Enter into this time of worship. Come bringing all of who you are. Rest and quiet your weak, worn spirit, for you are here to touch again eternal springs of hope and renewal. Calm your hurried pace. For this hour, let the cares, the fretfulness, the worry be set aside. You are so very worthy of moving on, of making new efforts, of trying again. Know that you are not alone, for there is strength and care and support for you here. You will find comfort if you but ask. Look around. You are part of this community if you wish, and you can make it what you will. So in this quiet hour, may our spirits be renewed. In this gathering of friends, may we be ready to extend ourselves to those in need and with trust to receive the hand that is offered. In this community of ideals, may we remember the principles that guide us and reflect upon those things that give meaning to our lives, renewing our dedication to serve the highest that we know. And in this hour of worship, may our minds be open to new truth and our hearts be receptive to love as we give thanks for this life that we are blessed to share. Well, these opening words by Carolyn Owen Toll and Gary Kowalski welcome all who have gathered this morning for our Sunday service. Welcome to those of you who are here in person at Essex Church. Welcome to all who are joining us via Zoom from far and wide. And this morning I also want to say welcome to anyone who's watching on YouTube at a later date or listening in via the podcast. We've not given you a name check for a while. It's delightful to know that we're reaching people all over the world and in the past and in the future. People can listen to this at any time. We'd love to hear from you if you're a regular viewer or listener. Drop us an email. And for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Jane Blackall and I'm Minister with Kensington Unitarians. This morning's service is the second of two linked Sundays exploring the theme of friendship. I introduced the theme last week, and don't worry if you missed it, you can catch up on YouTube if you'd like. But this service will stand alone. This morning, 4 members of our congregation, Carolyn, Gaynor, Liz and Roy, will be offering their own personal reflections on friendship, and there'll be a bit of an invitation to reflect on your own circles of friends along the way. But let's pause, let's take a moment to check in with ourselves before we go any further. How are you doing this morning? In body, in mind, in spirit? Maybe you need to take a conscious breath or two to settle in. Take a little moment to tune in to your feelings, and if you can, to just observe them quite neutrally. If you discover any worry or preoccupation or agitation, see if you can set it down just for now. Anything you really need to deal with, we can pick it up again in an hour or so. And perhaps by then you'll find you're ready to just let it go. We make this hour sacred with our presence and intention. So let's be here now, just as we are, as best we can, and give our attention to what really matters most in this life. I'm going to light our chalice as I do each time we gather. It's a simple ritual that connects us with Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists the world over, and it reminds us of the proudly progressive religious tradition of which this gathering is part. For every time we are disappointed and we choose to hope, we light this chalice. For every time we make a mistake and we decide to start again, we light this chalice. And for every time we are lonely and we let someone be our friend, we light this chalice. Time to sing. Our first hymn is number 62 in your purple hymn book, if you're in the church. Here we are gathered. For those joining via Zoom, the words will be up on your screen. Feel free to stand or sit as you prefer. Hymn number 62, Here We Have Gathered. So let's take all of those joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken, into an extended time of prayer now. This is based in part on some words by John Daniel. It's based on a poem called A Prayer Among Friends. You might want to adjust your position to get more comfortable. You might want to put down anything you don't need to be holding. Perhaps there's a posture that feels more prayerful. Whatever works for you to get into the right state of body and mind for us to pray together. Let's do what we can to be fully present in this sacred time and space with ourselves, with each other, and with that which lies within us and beyond us. Spirit of life, God of all love, in whom we live and move and have our being, we turn our full attention to you, the light within and without, as we tune into the depths of this life and the greater wisdom to which and through which we are all intimately connected. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and the stillness at the very centre of our being. Among other wonders of our lives, we are alive with one another. We live here in the light of this unlikely world that isn't ours for long. May we spend generously the time we are given. May we enact our responsibilities as thoroughly as we enjoy our pleasures. May we see with clarity, seeking a vision that serves all beings. May we honour the mystery surpassing our sight. And may we hold in our hands the gift of good work and bear it forth whole, as we were born forth by a power we praise to this one earth, the homeland of all we love. In our company this morning and every time we gather in community, there'll be those among our number who are suffering in body, mind or spirit. And we know only too well that there is much struggle, hardship, illness and injustice the world over. So let us spend a few quiet moments directing our prayers of loving kindness for all those who suffer this day. In our company this morning and every time we gather in community, there will be those among our number whose hearts are full and overflowing, uplifted by family and friends, inspired by nature or culture, engaged in meaningful work. So let us spend a few more quiet moments directing our prayers of gratitude for all that is good in our lives. In our company this morning and every time we gather, there will be those among our number who are just getting by as best they can, stumbling through life's endless ups and downs and seeking to discern the next step forward. So let us spend a few quiet moments asking for what we most need to face whatever life might bring our way. Spirit of life, God of all love, as this time of prayer draws to a close, We offer up our joys and our concerns, our hopes and our fears, our beauty and our brokenness. And we call on you for insight, healing and renewal. As we look forward now to the coming week, help us to live well each day and be our best selves, using our unique gifts in the service of love, justice and peace. Amen. Time to sing again now. Our next hymn is number 193 in the Purple Book, We Laugh, We Cry. This is one that people like. It's quite long, it takes a bit of stamina, but I know a lot of you really love the message of it. The words will be up on screen as usual. We laugh, we cry.
Over these many years of my adult life, I have had a few days now and again of thinking I don't have any friends. I know I'm not the only one who has these kinds of thoughts. When the lockdown started, and as they went on, a number of old friends, and also newer ones, got in touch. This made me realize that I do have friends. When I'm not in a distressed state of mind, and I reflect on this belief that I don't have friends, I don't think it has a lot to do with the truth. It has much more to do with what's in my head at a given time, and it really relates to my feelings of abandonment and loneliness that I felt as a child. From time to time, I stir those feelings up without noticing it, and they surface in my mind, so I believe that it's true in the present. Sometimes when I go back over my thought pattern, it's obvious what the trigger was. Sometimes it's not. Quite likely it was unconscious. In fact, I have heard it said that the unconscious holds 90% and the conscious only 10% of our thinking. At those times of believing that I am without friends, I need to remember something I learned from mindfulness. I need to say to myself, that's my no friends story. To explain, through a life-changing 8-week course on mindfulness that I did quite a few years ago, I can be hawk-like for being aware of negative thoughts coming into and going through my mind. They start up, they go on a bit, say it's dark and or raining, that really doesn't help. After a while, sooner or later, I start noticing where my mind has gone. And sometimes, on the way, I start labeling the kind of thoughts I'm having, which one way or another are unhelpful. I'm telling you all this because, as I said, using these techniques changed my life to make me much more contented and to live in the present, because this is all we have, what is real and actual. I used to be someone who only had one-to-one friendships, and my belief system is partly stuck in this idea still. However, what I realized over the enforced periods of isolation during lockdowns was that there are different kinds of friends. I have church friends, some of whom I only chat to when I'm here. Others I have contact with outside Sundays. Perhaps because I know they are going through something difficult, so it may be for a limited period, but we always feel a bit of a bond thereafter, or at least I do. And then there are some church friends with whom I have been out individually, and some on church outings and associated events. In addition to church friends, I have a local choir friend, Carol, I met only a year ago, thanks to her kindness of taking me there and back, and the regular table of people we meet up with there. Carol and I have met up just a few times outside of choir. There has to be time and willingness by both parties to make friends outside it. I also do quite a few other group activities and feel friendly with certain people with whom we usually have a chat. There are quite a few in the Youth VA, for instance, but we don't meet outside it individually. I used to not think of these people as my friends. In some ways, it gets harder to make friends as you get older, because people are established in their social circles, if they're lucky. On the other hand, losses through death, people moving away, or fallings out have made it possible for me to continually make new friends. And of course, some people remain open to getting to know whoever comes along. A lot of my friends have died, and I always remember what the writer, owner, and gardener of beautiful Great Dixter, Christopher Lloyd, said: "If you lose your friends, make new ones." He was in his 70s or 80s at the time. Sheila Puffer was another influence on me. Thanks to her, I now regard myself as being open to anyone. She's a Canadian woman who came to our church a few years ago and now lives back in Boston. We had some tremendous fun while she visited London. We continue to be in touch by WhatsApp, sending photos, etc. It is a cliche, but friendships do need working at, and they wax and wane, as one of my two friends called Irene is always saying. A friendship waning can be very difficult when I haven't wanted it to, such as happened with one particular friend after getting on for 20 years. I have changed in what I want in a friendship in recent years. I think I have become less intense on the whole. Well, not necessarily in terms of what I spend quite a lot of time doing, but in my social relationships, I have become a girl who wants to have fun here in London. There's so much to enjoy together.
Thanks, Carolyn. So we're moving into a time of meditation now. I'm going to share a few words which may be familiar to quite a few of you, words by Starhawk on friendship and community. It's a piece that I know of as A Circle of Friends. These words will take us into 3 minutes of silence, which will end with the sound of a bell, and then we're going to hear some music for reflection from George. There is an additional invitation, though, during this time. On the back of your hymn sheets, this slip in the middle of your order of service, if you're in the church, and I believe if you're at home, Charlotte has shared a link to this where you can download it from Dropbox. There's a little space for you to jot down some of your friends and think about the constellation of friends in your life at this moment in time. You might want to write your own name in the centre and explore who's closer, who's further away, what movement is going on, what's changing. That's just an invitation, not an obligation, I always say. But maybe you'll do it later if you don't do it now. So to go into this time of meditation, let's each do what we need to do to get comfortable. You might want to make sure your feet are flat on the ground. If that helps you to ground and steady yourself, you might want to close your eyes for a bit. These words are just an offering. We are all, perhaps, longing to go home to some place we have never been. A place half remembered and half envisioned, we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing. A circle of friends. Someplace where we can be free.
Can you hear me? Good. Hello everyone, I'm Gaynor and I co-host Many Voices LGBTQ singing sessions here at Kensington Unitarians, to which you are all warmly invited. The next one is after the service on Sunday the 7th of April. Do come along, it is just for fun, it's not a choir. Jane is a friend of mine, and she asked me to say a few words about friendship. She said, "You have a lot of chums, don't you, right? Can you say a few words at the service on the subject?" So I had time to reflect on this, since Jane mentioned it, and I realised a few things that might be useful to share here. And in fact, one of my very oldest friends has come along to support me today, so thanks, Tim. I'm an extrovert, although a somewhat anxious extrovert. I am friendly and skilled at making connections. I love to network and link people together. However, even though I have a lot of contacts, I don't actually have a lot of friends. I know a lot of very good people, acquaintances, associates, allies. Some folk I only know online, through Facebook, through my online sobriety group, or through social groups like my Nordic walking classes in the park, or church communities, or the locals in my little corner of South East London. I am warm, friendly, open and kind to some of these people. I'm learning in sobriety to be much more aware of boundaries. But the people in this group are not necessarily friends. So who are my friends and where did they come from? Some I have known since university, some I met at work, others I know from choirs, churches, LGBT groups and women's groups. What do all these chums have in common and what makes them my friends as opposed to acquaintances? Firstly, they have my back and I have theirs. They encourage me to grow and to keep on keeping on with everything that brings me satisfaction in my life. Secondly, my friends keep in contact with me, sometimes more often, sometimes less, but they do check in with me and I check in with them. Thirdly, we might not agree on absolutely everything, politics, religion, musical tastes, but some issues like homophobia, racism, misogyny, etc. are non-negotiable for me. My friends support me as an individual and in relationship with my wife. So I can be fully myself with my friends and feel safe in their company. I have just a few soul friends. These are what John O'Donoghue in the Celtic tradition called Anam Cara. With them, I share my deepest longings, my wildest hopes and dreams. I trust them completely. These are my 2 in the morning friends, people who I would call in a crisis at 2 or 3 a.m. and know they would be there for me. These soul friends are my chosen family, closer to me than most of my family of origin. Family estrangement is a deep grief, but I believe that God ensured I had soul friends in my life to help me grow, be supported and held. When I talk to these friends, I feel seen and heard and understood. They offer me unconditional love. If they notice I have an area of weakness that might be getting in the way of my spiritual growth, they can very gently point it out to me. I am with these people through thick and thin. They are my loyal companions, my soul friends. I'll end with that well-known quote by Elbert Hubbard. A friend is someone who knows all about you and still loves you. And I do indeed thank God for that. Amen.
Hi, my reflection is called Friendships Don't Always Last a Lifetime, and that's okay. I'm Liz, as you can see by my badge. Jane asked members of the congregation to write something about an aspect of friendship. The one I've chosen is how the importance of a friendship doesn't depend on how long it lasts. I have one friendship that I've had from the start of my life. I've had some friendships that have lasted over 40 years, but I have also had some friendships that have only lasted a few years or even a few weeks. I met my best friend very early on in life. I'm not sure whether I can say we met in the womb, but my twin sister has been my best friend since before I could understand the concept. I met two friends in the first year at secondary school, and we have remained friends ever since. It's true to say that we met less often during the years while they were raising their children and working, but we always remained in touch. And now we're all retired, we can meet more regularly. On the other hand, I've had friends met at college or at work who have only remained friends for that period of time. The friendship didn't outlast the course or the job. And I'm sure that many of us have had the experience of meeting people on holiday, enjoying their company, but never seeing or hearing from them after the holiday finishes. I used to feel a failure if I lost touch with, for example, work colleagues after I stopped working at a particular place of employment. I felt it reflected badly on me. Was I not interesting or funny enough? I felt the length of friendship was a mark of your value as a person. However, I've come to realise a friendship doesn't always have to last a lifetime. Some friendships are meant to be for a certain place and time and will not endure beyond that. And that's okay. People's circumstances change, and there may simply not be enough time and energy to maintain friendships. I now believe each friendship should be valued for its own sake and what you and the other person gain from the relationship at the time. A friend can play a significant role in your life, even if it's not a permanent one.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to adjust this for my height. Nice to see everybody. My name's Roy. As you can see, most of you know me. Okay, I'll take my glasses off as well. Is that better? I don't know about you, but I can't imagine what life would be like without my friends. A couple of months ago, during a heart and soul service here at church, when reflecting on what I was grateful for, I said friendship. I remember also saying that I was blessed with my friends, which I truly am. But here's the thing, I enjoy my own company and I actively seek it out. I like being on my own very much. Solo visits to the cinema, theatre, museums and galleries, country walks, city walks, longer journeys and trips overseas. Solitude is not loneliness, and it's very important to me. However, while spending time alone has many benefits, and I would highly recommend it, it is complemented by the curative properties of friendship. Around 10 years ago, I had a major crisis in my life. During and after this, friendship took on a whole new meaning for me. Suffering opens the heart to transformation. At that time, I began to meet other people struggling as I was, and worse. To become a friend to wounded people, I had to become a friend to myself, recognize my own weakness and need of help. The defensive barricades I had built up around myself to appear strong collapsed. Showing one's vulnerability comes with risks, of course, but learning to listen with empathy and shared understanding offers us a gift to deepen our friendships and relationships of all kinds. Companionable silence and just being with someone are often just as important as the words we exchange. Another category of friendship, that of love and intimate relationships, deserves a service of its own. My wife has been a wonderful friend to me. A life-saving friend at the darkest time in my life. And I couldn't really talk about friendship without mentioning her. However, with neither the time or the scope to examine the overlap and blurred lines of friendship and other relationships, I will make do with a quote from author and teacher Joseph Campbell, who sums up the thoughts on this very nicely. Love is a friendship set to music. So yes, I'm blessed with friends. I'm not embarrassed to say I love people. I have some very dear friends, some of whom I met right here. As for making new friends, I make them all the time. So I will finish with a few words from Maya Angelou that perhaps encapsulate all that I have learnt and experienced of friendship. I found that a friend may be waiting behind a stranger's face. Thank you.
So thanks to Roy and to Liz and to Gaynor for sharing reflections. Time for just one last hymn now. It's on your little hymn sheet, a great favourite, the Good Night hymn. Please overlook the fact that it's the wrong time of day. We can sing it as a blessing to each other. Let's sing up as best we can. Enjoy Good Night hymn. Just time for a few announcements then. Thank you to Janine for tech hosting. Thanks for Charlotte for co-hosting, especially for stepping in at the last moment. Thanks to George for playing for us and Ben for supporting our singing. Thanks to Carolyn, Gaynor, Liz and Roy for your wonderful reflections on the topic. Thanks to Patricia for greeting and welcome back. Thanks to, no, come on, you did your bit. And thanks to Liz, who's already on her way to put the kettle on. If you're in the building, do stay and have a slice of Victoria sponge over tea. If you're on Zoom, please do hang around for a chat with Charlotte. Tonight we've got our Better World Book Club on Zoom at 7:30 when we'll be talking about Laziness Does Not Exist by Devon Price. Probably too late to read that one if you haven't already started. But please pick up a flyer for the book group because the next 5 choices have already been decided. Next month we'll be reading Sheila Banerjee's What's in a Name. But we've also got our regular Heart and Soul contemplative spiritual gathering on Friday this week at 7:00. The theme is sacrifice. This is a space for sharing and prayer, and again, it's a great way to know each other on a deeper level. Email me if you want the link for that. Wednesday night, we'll be having our in-person community singing group. That's great fun. Do come and join us. And Sonia will be running her Nia dance class here next Friday at 12:30 as usual. Next Sunday at 11:00 is our special Easter Sunday service, which will feature special music from our quartet of singers, plus a bonus cello feature. Don't forget the clocks go forward next weekend. You know, have an early night on Saturday and make sure you're here for 11 so you don't miss anything. And you can stay behind after the service next week when Hannah will be leading a free community yoga class. Looking further ahead, as Gaynor mentioned, Many Voices are back on the 7th of April. I went to the last one and it was brilliant, so do come along to that one. And a date for your diaries, on the 14th of April, we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of this congregation, and there'll be a lunch after the service. Let Liz know what you're planning to bring along for the Bring and Share potluck lunch. Details of all the activities are on the back of your order of service. They're in the Friday email. If you're not already receiving the emails, let me know and I'll put your email on the mailing list. This congregation very much has a life beyond Sunday mornings. We encourage you to keep in touch, look out for each other and do what you can to nurture supportive connections. I think that's everything. Just time for our closing words and closing music. As we part now one from another, let these be our thoughts. If that which is most holy lies within the human person, if the greatest power in the world shines flickering and uncertain from each individual heart, then we can see the value in nurturing that light, nurturing it here, together in religious community, among friends. For the power of good in any one of us must at times waver. But when a group is dedicated to nurturing that power of good, it's rare for the light to grow dim in all of us at just the same moment. So let us borrow courage and wisdom from each other to warm and keep us until we're together again. Amen.